Hello, hello, hello. This is Talking Manchester United, a United Stand podcast with myself, Paul Gardner. And joining me as always is Ash Burns. Ash, how are you, my friend?
Yes, not a bad week at all. Had my
I love the...
got to be done. Yeah, 30th birthday, that was out the way in the week, and then capped it all off lovely with that game on Saturday. So yeah, pretty good. How about yourself?
To the game. I didn't know it was your birthday, so happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much.
That's right, no problem. That's that out the window, out of the way. So yeah, what a game that was. 3-2.
Yeah.
Well, let's not waste any time. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Now, your thoughts on the game? I mean, let's be fair. Let's just get one thing clear. We were very lucky that Sterling was playing.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think anyone else, I think Aguero, Jesus, even Bernardo Silva, I think possibly in that position, we'd have been in a lot more trouble than we were. But yeah, luckily he couldn't hit the barn door. And yeah, we got away with a lot. But again, it's just, if there was ever a game that sort of typified our season, it was this one, because we've been saying it week after week after week. Well, that was a game of two halves, wasn't it? And yeah, there's nothing that highlights that more than that game on Saturday. Just poles apart the two halves. And I'm almost glad in a way that we did concede first. Again, it was very reminiscent of the Chelsea game, I thought, where we were a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish. Obviously, City a lot technically better, a lot tactically better than Chelsea as well. And yeah, they tore us to shreds in that first half. And it was just lucky. It was lucky at 2-0 because I did tweet out a message at halftime saying, if we concede one more, that's probably going to be my viewing for the day. I'm not going to watch anymore. But yeah, I'm really glad it didn't, because I know a lot of people who turned off at halftime thinking that was it and missed the goal. So yeah, unbelievable performance in the second half. I think, first half very, very poor. City were up for it. They wanted to get the job done early.
Do you not think that for the first 25 minutes it was okay? Maybe not even, but we didn't sort of sit back and let them walk all over us. I thought for the first sort of 20-25 minutes before the goal, I thought we were actually not bad considering we were away to them.
Yeah, it did surprise me the way we come out. I'd say first for sort of 5 or 10, I thought we looked very good. I thought we were moving the ball well. I thought we were closing the gaps quite well. And then after that, although it wasn't horrendous, I just thought that we were a bit toothless again. We've seen that a lot this season where, we've really struggled to go from midfield to attack and defence into midfield and transition. And I thought we struggled there again, not, looking horrendous at times, but I think, when City got the ball, you could just see the difference in how well they transitioned through the field as opposed to us, because I thought we were very poor in that part of our game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah,
yeah, and it was frustrating because it's two mistakes that have led to the goals again. We said that about the last game at Old Trafford where we gifted them 2 goals, and you could almost say it was the same. Arguably they deserved the lead because they should have had 2, 3, 4 more in that first half. But the first goal comes from a terrible defending error from Chris Smalling. We'll get to him because because I'm sure there was a lot of discussion about him. And then the second one is a poor clearance from De Gea, which puts pressure on us again. And then Gundogan with a fantastic spin and finish. But yeah, it was 2 goals that were needlessly conceded again, really. So yeah, I was just so glad that we went in 2-0 in the first half, and then that second half, well.
That brings me on to the next thing I was going to say.
Yeah,
I've seen it a few times now this season, and there's been a couple of occasions where people have said, this is the United of old, we're back, and it's that never say die attitude that we've had recently. Against Palace was one example.
Yeah.
Did we go 1 down against Chelsea before beating them 2-1?
Yeah, Willian scored. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so it's that mentality that we've been used to for so long. It's back now. We've got it back, and it's good to see that, because before, when we played Man City last back in December, we sort of rolled over for them, didn't we?
Yeah,
for the whole game, pretty much. But we didn't see that this time. We saw a very resurgent Man United in the second half.
Yeah. Well, it was odd because, coming out in that second half, I thought, we were looking to do a little bit more. And then the first goal Pogba's first goal was an unbelievable goal. It was so well worked through the channels, and I think, you know, you say that never say die attitude. I think nothing sort of highlights that more than Alexis Sanchez. I thought it was a game where he was he quietly, I say quietly because a lot of people didn't see, he quietly had a blinder.
No, he did, absolutely. Yeah,
and I thought he was fantastic for us. I really did. I thought his energy, the way he pressed the ball, and again, it just, everything, you know, comes back to that never say die, because that's how he was. He was chasing down everything. He was looking to harass the back line, pressing high. And that first goal, he absolutely, you know, sent Otamendi for a hot dog down the right-hand side. Perfect ball into Herrera, and that assist from Herrera is just delicious, isn't it?
It was magical.
Yeah, it was. And I think, but and it was funny because as soon as that goal goes in, I said to myself, we're getting another one. I don't know what it was about us, just everything, and City's heads just seemed to go. As soon as that goal went in, the City backline, their heads went. You just saw from them, and it was weird. And then 5 minutes later, another fantastic goal. Sanchez at the heart of it. Pogba finishes it off again. And I don't think, from at 2-2, I thought we're never going to lose this. And then 3-2, and then I'm thinking they're going to equalize in a minute. So it was really weird how the game set up. But a few decisions went our way. I think a bit of luck. You have to have a bit of luck again going to somewhere like the Etihad, and fantastic performers and some really, really good performances in there as well. Yeah,
I think when we went 3-2 up, I've never been so nervous.
Yeah.
Well, not at least not for a long time anyway. I've not been that nervous watching a game of football. And fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything.
Yeah.
And it was so nerve-wracking, especially when De Gea tipped Aguero's header over, another ball class save.
Yeah.
Sterling, and the ball came off the shin and it post. I thought, oh no. You know, little moments like that, but that happens. That happens. You know, not just in that game, but in other games as well. That sort of thing happens.
Yeah.
But that second half from Pogba, he's been written off.
Yeah.
He's been slated and all sorts. People say that his first half was rubbish. I don't think it was rubbish.
No, I don't think it was
great. But that second half resurgence, unreal.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to affect him and the rest of the team going into the remaining games of this season?
Well, I'm not going to say that I've been saying it all season, but I've been saying it all season. I think a big part of that came because, as Jose said, he's taken the shackles off, which we know if we do that, we play expansive football. But I think Pogba, like I've said, since he's been at the club, we need to play him further forward. And I said, sort of, after he scored that second goal, this is what you'll see. I'm not surprised, because when he gets forward, when he's afforded that license to roam, he'll get forward and he'll create things. Because when we play him in a deeper role, whether it be centre midfield or centre defensive midfield, I don't think he's got the defensive capabilities. Like I've been saying, yes, he's athletic, he's quick, he's strong, but I don't think the awareness is there defensively from him. And I think more importantly, I don't think the desire is there for him to defend. I don't think that's a role he wants to be in. And I think he finds that a lot more difficult to play because he doesn't want to play there. So when he's given that license to roam, when he gets forward, we can see what he does. He makes fantastic runs into the box. His decision-making in the final third is usually immaculate. And we've seen that with 2 fantastic goals. And he usually does it when he gets forward. And when the whole team press, as we did in that second half, it gives him more room. It gives him license to get forward, and he'll do great things. So I think that was a big part of it. I thought Sanchez was fantastic as well. I thought Matic really stepped up in the second half, and I thought Herrera was great as well. I think that midfield 3 dynamic works so well in the second half because I think we pressed from the front a lot better. You saw the likes of Lukaku and Sanchez and Lingard chasing down things a lot more efficiently in the second half. And like Liverpool have done, twice this season, they've really got to City. And they've exposed, their frailties in the defence, because they have. The likes of Otamendi, I didn't think Delino was very good, and he got very frustrated. And it just showed that they're not fantastic players, in my opinion, defensive, minded players, and they can be exposed. But that is, hidden because they're so good with the ball, and because their midfield and attack, are so, creative and I think so efficient. It doesn't really get highlighted a lot. So that's what I said. If we pressed them from the off, we got into their faces, we closed them down quick, they'd be exposed. And that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, much improved, and I think it's got to be that now. That second half has got to be something for us to build on. It's there for everyone to see, and I'm hoping Jose will see that. I'm hoping the players will see that, and now we can really move on and do something and achieve something this season.
And not only that, Pogba and Sanchez, linking up well together. People said they couldn't play in the team together. Well, Pogba was playing on the left side, Aguero on the right side, and look what happens. They play in the last couple of weeks. It bugs me when people say they just can't be put on the same side of the pitch because they can't play together. They can. They just got to figure it out.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what's happened. Now, I didn't see any of the post-match interviews with the manager or any of the players, but apparently, you may have seen it. You may be able to confirm this. But apparently, in an interview with Pogba after the game, he said that at half-time, he just said to Sanchez, if you get the ball, just look for me. Because every time you get the ball, I'm going to run into the box.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. And what a perfectly weighted cross that was.
Yeah.
Straight onto the head of Pogba. I mean, the way he headed it was incredible.
It was really difficult.
He had to get over Otamendi. He had to get his head down and around the ball, because he was ahead of the ball.
Yeah, the ball was behind him,
and then wrap it around and get it in the bottom corner. It's fantastic header. Only Pogba could do something like that.
Yeah. But that's what I was talking about. And it's great that you brought that up, Sanchez and Pogba getting in each other's way, because what I think is Sanchez, he likes to come deep for the ball and he likes to create things. And the role that Pogba has been playing for a large part of the season is that deep role. So in effect, they are sort of in the same position. But with Pogba given that license to roam, he can get forward and affect it. And look what happens. Players with quality like Sanchez are going to find Pogba. He's he's a strong lad, he's athletic, and he's going to outjump, most of the defenders in the Premier League. So, balls like that ball could happen. That ball could work, I think, in every game against every opposition.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it is really, really nice to see, that happening. I think it's something that Mourinho needs to look at now and say, well, do you know what? If that works against City, who is it not going to work against? So, I'm really hoping that he can kick on and we can play that system that we played in the second half for every game. Why not? Why can't we?
And I think as well in the second half, there was a bit of karma.
Yeah, very much so.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah.
Go on, take it away. What are your thoughts on that?
The Ashley Young challenge?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, initially when I saw it, when that challenge went in, the first thing...
For those listening that aren't sure what I'm on about, I'm talking about when Claudio Bravo snapped Wayne Rooney's leg. Yeah. Yeah. Well, when that challenge went in from Ashley Young, the first thing that crossed my mind is he's got the ball. that was the first thing I thought. He's got the ball. And to be fair to him, he did get the ball. His first point of contact hits the ball, but his leg pops up, catches Aguero in the shin, and it's a potential leg breaker. So in my opinion, it's a red card and it's a penalty. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. But as you rightly said, a bit of karma, because you look at last season. I think it was last season, wasn't it? Was it last season? Season before? Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, what season before? I think it was last season.
Yeah, Bravo absolutely chomps Rooney, nowhere near the ball, and both feet into Rooney's shins. And the thing that annoys me the most is in the analysis and things like that, they spent 5 minutes, I think, in one of the analysis. I can't remember which one it was, but 5 minutes talking about that Ashley Young challenge. In one of the with the pundits last season or whenever it was with the Bravo challenge wasn't even mentioned. So it's I don't want to say agenda against United, but it is so frustrating when things like that happen. It's anything really to sort of get City out of that hole and say that they weren't outplayed, they were unlucky, which was frustrating because we outplayed them second half by a mile. So frustrating, but karma, it comes back to bite them, and I loved every second of it.
Excellent. You mentioned Chris Smalling earlier.
I did.
I've given him an 8
out of 10.
10.
Okay, that's interesting.
But the first half, I gave him a 4.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds more likely. But second half.
An 8 was the fact that he scored that, technically the winner, really.
Yeah, it was.
But I did think that throughout the course of the second half, with the help of the midfield and the attack, our defence did look a bit more relaxed and a bit more, I wouldn't say composed, because at the moment, Bailly is struggling for composure. Yeah. I'm really genuinely concerned about Bailly. I mentioned it last week, didn't I? That he was making a few mistakes, but we let it go because he's Bailly. But Again, in the first half against City, his positioning was way off.
Yeah.
His distribution was poor. So I'm getting a little bit worried about Bailly. Not enough to say, we should be dropping him, but, just it's a little bit of concern, a little niggling concern going on in the back of my head.
Yeah.
But, I thought Smalling in the second half, I thought he was semi-decent. And to get forward and get on the end, especially after the incident with Company for the first goal from the corner, because that's the second, because if you remember, they compared it to more than a few. Exactly the same scenario when Company got the better of Smalling. I think it was 2012.
2012, yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
exactly the same situation.
It was, yeah.
You could see Smalling sort of take his eye off the ball and the player just fractionally, and it was at that moment that Company ran and got in front of him.
Yeah.
So I think he did well to get in front of Company in the opposite end of the box, and a good finish as well. Because normally, when you see a defender centre half like that with his foot, normally it goes over or wide into the stands, but now he controlled it very well. And I think he also scored a goal like that as well
in the
City.
Again,
yeah,
that's it. In 2011, it was carbon copy.
It was.
It was. It really was. But it's.
But you want to say something about him as well?
Yeah. What is that? Smalling's third goal in the Manchester derby.
I think so.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, no, fair play to him, and I give him a lot of stick, and I don't think he was great by any stretch. But one thing I will applaud is his mentality throughout the game, because a massive mistake, and he just gets bullied by Company for the first goal. But fair play, he kept his head, he kept fighting. You can't knock him for his mentality. And again, I think for that mistake to happen in that first half, and for him to show, the bravery to get up there and put himself on the line, because if that ball gets cleared from that Sanchez free kick, he's at the races, really, isn't he? So for him to get up there, to put himself on the line, to get on the end of that cross with a fantastic finish, fair play to him. So yeah, I was absolutely cursing him at halftime, but then I was singing his praises at full time. And he actually tweeted out. Did you see the tweet that he put out, which was quite funny?
I didn't know. What was it?
It was the angry face with the swearing bar emoji across the front of it.
Yeah.
It was that emoji with then an arrow and then the kissing face emoji, and they said halftime in my mentions at halftime or something compared to full time. So he must have looked through the So I thought it was a great bit of banter from him. Fair play. So now you got to applaud the lad's mentality, and as much as he's done, I don't really want to see him as a first choice centre back next season. Sorry, Chris.
Now, because it's Chris Smalling, he will get a lot of stick for that Company goal. I mean, he should have done better, but let's not forget this is Company, Vincent Company. Yeah. He's one of the better centre halves in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You could argue in Europe as well, especially when he's at his best, when he's not injured. Well, obviously everyone's at their best when they're not injured, but you're not saying.
Yeah.
I think he would beat most defenders. Yeah. To be fair, right? But I think if Smalling was up against, let's say, a Bernardo Silva or a David Silva or someone like that a foot shorter than him, then you would be like, hang on, a bit more criticism. But I think against Company, it's not the easiest job.
No,
we know what Company's capable of.
Yeah,
I know it sounds like I'm always defending Smalling, but I like Smalling.
Yeah,
he's decent.
Yeah, and he's kept fit. I'll give him that. When others around him have been injured and all sorts, he has kept fit and he's kept himself available. So I think that's another thing he's got to be commended for, with the likes of Rojo and Jones and Bailly been injured for lots of the season. He's always been there, so you've got to give him credit for that as well.
Anything else you want to add on that game?
I don't think so. No, I think we're all good. I think nothing was mentioned again of the Fernandinho challenge on Jesse Lingard. I'll just add that as well. But apart from that, no.
Well, when it comes to Man City, the media love them, don't they? So they're not going to slate them too much.
Yeah.
But to all you listening, what are your thoughts on the game? Let us know. Tweet us at United Stand Pod. You can tweet myself at Paul Gardner LP. You can tweet Ash at Ashboyo, ASHBOIO. Yep. If you're watching or listening on YouTube, leave us a comment below. What are your thoughts on the game? How do you rate Pogba's performance? How do you think that will affect us going forward in the season? How do you think it will affect him? Let us know what you think. Ash, should we move on to the West Brom preview?
You can indeed. So, coming up at the weekend, Sunday, 4:00, if I'm not mistaken. back to Old Trafford to face West Bromwich Albion, bottom of the Premier League at the moment. And got to be honest, looking at their previous 5 games, 1 point in the last 5 games, 1 draw. That was the last game against Swansea. They've lost the other 4, not coming into the game in fine form at all. And it's one of those games that, following that City game, I think it's probably the ideal opponent, well, you'd like to think, coming off that sort of grueling matchup. For me, it's a must-win. I think we will win. But one thing I would highlight with West Brom is they seem to be scoring quite regularly in most of their matches. I mean, 4 of the 5 games that they've played recently, they've scored in all of them, albeit only the 1 goal. But yeah, what do you make of their form and how they're getting on this season so far, and especially leading up to this game?
Well, like you say, and you can go back 6 games. They've lost 5 of their last 6, with their most recent one being a draw against Swansea. Yes, they are scoring goals. They've scored in every game bar 1 in the last 6.
Yeah.
But the teams they're scoring against, the Huddersfield, Watford, Leicester, Bournemouth, Burnley, Swansea, these aren't teams that have got good defences, No. I don't think we'll have any problem keeping a clean sheet against West Brom. The last time we played them in the reverse fixture at their ground, 1-2-1. It was one of the very few victories we had in a bad December. I think we won 3 out of 7 Premier League games, but we all know that December was a bad month for us.
Yep.
We didn't play particularly well. West Brom, when they got that goal back, they did put us under a bit of pressure. We had to hold on for that win. But I think it's going to be a completely different story this time around. We're a completely different team than we were back in December. We're picking up wins against the Big 6. We're still second. And we just beat City at their ground 3-2. So I think this is a game where we should be quite comfortable winners.
So yeah, it all points to a decent win for us. Another really, really good stat that I think come up very recently after that win against City is this is the first season since 2010-2011 that we've beat every single Premier League opposition in the same season. Did you see that? So we've beat every team this season in the Premier League.
No, the only stat that I've seen post Man City is that we're the only team in Europe's top 5 divisions not to have conceded more than 2 goals in 1 game. In
all competitions, that is as well, isn't it?
Is it now? I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure that's. I read that as well in a few different outlets. It was a really good stat that I thought. Well, both of those are really good, and the fact that we've beat every single team, so we've beat all of the top 6 this season. Obviously. Which is fantastic, and I think it is something that does show that we are going places, and to come off that again, as you rightly said, going against West Brom, I can only see a United win. We're bigging this up far too much, but looking at the West Brom squad, as we have said, they have scored in a couple of their last matches, and it seems to be the same two that keep popping up. Solomon Rondon and Jay Rodriguez. I've put them 2 down as danger men because they can always pop up with a goal, especially if we have a lapse in concentration in defence or whatever. And I got a couple of others as well. I put Gareth Barry down just for the experience, and he always seems to step up his game when he plays United. James McLean, I absolutely hate the git, but he could cause problems. And then Daniel Sturridge. Apparently he plays for West Brom. I didn't know this.
Really?
Yeah, he's on loan from Liverpool at West Brom. I don't know anything about his fitness. Couldn't find anything. Don't know if he's available. But again, he is a player that can pop up. He has scored against United in the past. Anyone else you see as causing problems?
Again, just Rondon and Rodriguez are the only 2 people that I've picked out really because they are their top scorers and they've only got 6 goals each.
Yeah.
West Brom have actually got the joint worst goal scoring record in the league with Swansea and Huddersfield.
Wow.
So then, although they in their last 5 games they've scored 5 or 6 goals, a goal of every game apart from 1 actually against Watford. They didn't score against Watford, but they're not a team that scores a lot of goals.
No.
And when you look at their top scorers, 6. I'm really not concerned, to be honest. I don't think that they can cause us much of a threat.
No.
I know it only takes a second to score a goal and a lapse in concentration, and that's it, they've scored. But I don't know. I just got a feeling that we're going to keep a clean sheet against them. I don't think there's much of a threat really from the West Brom team, which is why they're at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I can't see us being, too threatened by them. I think perfect game to come off that City game. I think you look at United now. 1 loss in the last 9 games. That was the game against Sevilla where we lost 2-1. Haven't lost since the 11th Feb. I think the only one. I think that was the last loss before the Sevilla game was the Newcastle game where we lost 1-0. So coming into this, do you think it's the time for rotation, or do you think we should wait maybe until the next game to rotate for the FA Cup?
When you say rotation, I take it you mean literally.
Yeah,
just
personnel. Yeah, personnel.
That played Man City. Yes, I would probably change 2 players.
Yeah.
Purely because I want to see a couple of players play in certain positions.
Yeah.
But I think I normally go first when it comes to talking about who we should play. I mean, this is the team that I would like to see play. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if you're doing a mixture of both, what you think it'll be and what you want or whatever. But you can explain that. But do you want to go first this time?
Yeah. So it's very, very simple for me, actually. I've gone with a 4-3-3, and I've gone with De Gea, Valencia, Smalling, and Bailly, and Young as a back four. So exactly the same back four. Matic, Herrera, Lingard, Lukaku, Sanchez. So it's pretty much a carbon copy of the City side. And the reason I've done that is because we've got the game this weekend, and we've also got a midweek game next week against Bournemouth. And the only reason that I'd kept the same, because after that midweek game against Bournemouth next week, on the weekend we've got the FA Cup FA Cup semi-final against Spurs. So for me, I'd rather us play maybe a stronger side this weekend, and then midweek maybe rest a few players for the upcoming Spurs game. But that's just me. That's probably not what Mourinho's going to do. But yeah, that's what I think.
No, that's a good reason. The Spurs game is a good reason to keep the team the same and then rotate later. My team's not too different from yours. I've kept the 4-3-3 formation. Back 4 or back 5, De Gea, Valencia, Bailly, Lindelof, and Young. Again, I was saying it for the Swansea game. I really want to see Bailly and Lindelof get some minutes together.
Yeah.
The longer it goes on that we don't see them play together, it makes me think that one or both of them is going to be replaced in the summer. I would imagine just one, because if Mourinho did see those two as a future centre-back pairing, surely he would give them some minutes together.
Yeah.
But he's not doing it, so it just makes you wonder a little bit if Lindelof is, maybe got to wait another year.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of them would go in the summer. Actually, no, scrap that. I don't know why I said that. Just because they don't play in one season doesn't mean they're automatically going to get sold.
Yeah.
But I really would like to see them get some minutes together. I thought Swansea would be a good opportunity to do it, and I also think that against West Brom at home is another opportunity to give them some minutes together and give Smalling a break as well.
Yeah.
So those fall on the back. Midfield, this is where it changes for me as well. Keep Matic, keep Pogba. Instead of Herrera, put Matad in there. Let's go all out creative in our attacking midfield sense. I think Matad would play that position quite well, right side of a midfield 3. I think he could link up. He could pick up the ball from Matic. Pogba storming ahead. It almost turns into a 4-2-3-1 at that point.
Yeah.
And Pogba bombs ahead. He's got Lingard, Sanchez, and Pogba and Lukaku all in front of him. I just think that getting Mata in that position, I think he could play that well. I'm not saying we should play in there every week. I'd just like to see him given a role, given a game, given some minutes in that midfield 3, just to see how he'd get on. And then the front 3, the same as it was against City: Sanchez, Lukaku, and Lingard.
I like it. So any changes then? How do you think we should? I know it's looking a little bit ahead and probably look to that, again next week. But what do you think of the Bournemouth game? Do you think he'll make changes ready for the weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know who.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll give Lukaku a rest.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll give Matic a rest. Maybe Young and Valencia.
Yeah.
Or one of them. Maybe he'll give one of them a rest on the weekend and one of them a rest on next week. I don't know. Sanchez may even get a rest. You might see Martial get some minutes.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that Sanchez came off with 12 minutes to go and Rashford came on. I mean, of course, Sanchez looked a little bit disappointed, but he's got to expect that. Yeah. When you've got players that are challenging for that position, you've got to expect them to be given minutes. And I like the fact that Rashford was given some minutes. It's a shame he didn't really get much to do. But again, expected. Man City were losing. Of course, they're going to have more of the ball. But yeah, no, absolutely. There'll definitely be some rotation for the Bournemouth game, I reckon.
Marvellous.
Should we head over to Twitter then?
And indeed, I'll just pull it up now.
Awkward silence.
Okie dokie. So, as usual, recording this week's podcast. Let us know if there's anything you'd like us to discuss. So, top of the shop, Fionn Curtin changes at. Okay. I'm confused.
Changes that more than his pants, I'm sure.
So, discuss how the win can be a platform for next season. So, quite broad.
I don't think that win will necessarily be or the platform for next season.
Yeah.
It's certainly a platform going into the rest of this season, that's for sure. But I do think it's how we finish this season, gives us a platform for next season. But you could even argue that even the way we finish this season isn't really a platform for next season. No. The platform for next season is pre-season.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, how when we bring new players in, if we can bed them into the team soon enough, I fear that if we were to sign 4 players, I think 3 of them will probably be playing in the World Cup, so they might not even be on the pre-season tour.
Yeah.
They might play one pre-season friendly just before the season starts. But ultimately, I don't think that win... it will give us confidence going into the rest of the season, but I don't think that win itself, is a platform for next season. We could lose 2 of our last 6 games. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we forget about the Man City win.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm exactly the same as you. I don't think, as you rightly said, I think it leads us on to great things going on for the rest of this season, but that all depends on how Jose sets up his team. Will we keep the same mentality that we did against City? And really glad that you mentioned the fact about bringing new players in. We could have, numerous different players going into next season, completely different system, could be a number of things. So I don't think this result will affect too much of how we approach next season, but it certainly helped. I think it'll build on the mentality and it'll build on the experience, I think, for existing players as well. They'll have been in that situation before and, they can deal with it better. But apart from that, that's all I think we can take from that. Next then, Mr. Bearded Red, Andrew Southwick.
Andrew.
So he says, so I'm willing to admit I'm not Jose's biggest fan, but I'm willing to give him some more time as long as he brings through youth and attacking football. My question is, do you think that under Sir Alex Ferguson, people like Martial, Rashford, Timbo and Tuanzebe would be stars for the team? Interesting.
Andrew, I love you, but seriously, man, let it go. Sir Alex Ferguson is not our manager anymore. And it's not just you, Andrew. There's so many people that are comparing Mourinho to Alex Ferguson. Would this happen under Fergie? Would that happen under Fergie? Mourinho is not Fergie.
Yeah.
100% of managers out there aren't Fergie. Fergie didn't always get everything right all the time.
Nope.
Let's not forget that. But would Martial, Rashford, Timbo and Tuanzebe, would they be stars under Sir Alex Ferguson? Maybe, maybe not. We just don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Ferguson wasn't a stranger to sending players out on loan.
No.
Smalling went out on loan. Lingard went out on loan. Lots of players went out on loan before they actually broke into the United teams. It's not unusual to see the likes of Timbo and Tuanzebe out on loan. So you could argue, no, they wouldn't be stars for the team just yet. Martial and Rashford, probably not, because they're in the inner team by default originally.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Rashford because Martial was injured. Martial because Memphis was playing rubbish.
Yeah.
And like Van Gaal said, Martial was brought in for the future, for gigs, essentially.
Yeah.
So Memphis was meant to be the star. But it didn't pan out like that. So Martial was thrown in. He had a stomper of a first season. Rashford came in, had a stomper of a debut, and played really well. Both of them had fantastic first seasons. But that might not have happened. So really, in answer to your question, do you think under Sir Alex Ferguson those players would be stars? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Yeah, I think you can't compare the two. And, let's not forget, as much as Sir Alex Ferguson did advocate youth, he outspent a lot of his rivals, throughout the years that he was there. He spent a lot of money, not all of it was well invested. So it's, a case can be made for both. As you said, I don't think we can really compare. I think maybe Rashford, maybe Martial, could have been in and around. Timbo and Tuanzebe, debatable. And I think Mourinho's done a really, really good job with the youth that he has had. Let's not forget that football is a lot different now than it was to when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge. And, Mourinho, as much I think as he wants to play youth, and he has, I think he's played more youth than anyone else in the Premier League, he's still got a job to do, and football is a business. And if you're not running that business correctly, you're gone. So he's not going to get afforded the time like the managers of the Sir Alex Ferguson era, and he's got to deliver. And by playing youth and taking big risks like that, it can impact on his career. So it's a balancing act. And for me, as a lot of people say that, we need to rely on youth. I think Mourinho's done a fantastic job with the youth that he has got. You look at the likes of the debuts he's given. McTominay coming through; he's a permanent fixture in the first team now. Gomez has had a few games, so it's neither here nor there, I don't think. But I think he's done a brilliant job with the youth that he has had at his disposal. And we don't know what's going to happen next season. Will he bring in? Will he invest? But I'm fully behind him, and I think he will use youth that he's got, as well as he has done so far.
And let's not be naive as well. If they're good enough, to play at the top level, if they're good enough to play for Manchester United, a team that should be challenging the Premier League title, and B, Champions League. If they're good enough to be playing at that level, he'll play them.
Yeah.
What we need to realise is we only see them for 90 minutes on a pitch every now and again. He sees them every day in training. Obviously not the ones that are out on loan, but he sees them every day in training. So he knows more than we do. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's not be naive about it. If they're good enough, they'll make it.
Yeah. Next up then, Billy Bryan at BillyB_7. If you could choose a major signing, we're back with the signings. I apologize. I think it's the only signing question we've got, but don't worry. If you could choose a major signing out of these three, which should it be? Umtiti, Milinkovic, Savic, or Alexandro? Chances are we get one of them. Which do we need most? Billy has gone for Umtiti.
I like the way you say that.
Umtiti. Umtiti.
I would go out of those three.
Yeah.
If I was to say which we needed the most, I would say Milinkovic, Savic.
Yeah.
Purely because I don't think our defence is the worst area on the field. We have an abundance of defenders at the moment. All of them are decent. Bailly has the potential to be world class. We're yet to see the best of Lindelof.
Yeah.
Smalling is reliable. Got a mistake in him, but for the majority of the time he's reliable, and he's proved it this season. Marcus Rojo, we've got him. We know he can be solid. Again, he can be a bit rash as well.
Yeah.
So I think we have an abundance of defenders at the moment.
Yeah.
Where we are weak and short is in midfield. And let's not forget, Carrick's already gone. But when I say gone, I mean he's not playing anymore. He's coaching now.
Yeah.
Fellaini will be going. Not that I'm saying that Fellaini is going to be missed, because he won't be.
Yeah.
But it's a hole to fill, essentially. Yeah. So midfield definitely would be the area that I would be looking at, which is why I would go with Milinkovic, Savic.
Yeah.
It's a tough one because you could also say that Alexandro would be a good shout.
Yeah.
Because both of our fullbacks at the moment going forward aren't amazing. On the left-hand side, really, you want a left-footed left-back who can put a quick cross in the box and not have to keep cutting back.
Yeah.
So if you've got a Lukaku, if you're on a counter-attack, not even necessarily a counter-attack, but if you've got a ball that's been played out to the left wing and you've got the fullback bombing up onto the end of the ball, and Lukaku's there waving, he wants a cross put in quick, you can just hit it straight away. You ain't got to wait. You ain't got to rely on Ashley Young to bring it back and then, take a few touches before he crosses it. So, you could put a good argument through for Sandro as well, but I think I would go Milinkovic-Savic.
Yeah. I've got to agree. As much as I like Alexandro, I think he's a fantastic fullback, and I think he'd do really well in the system that we would play, whether we play a 3 at the back, 5 at the back, or 4. I think he'd do really well. But yeah, as I've said for a lot of the season, the depth in our midfield is horrendous. You look at the likes of, McTominay, Herrera, Fellaini. These are first-team footballers who not necessarily are, top-class Manchester United players. Not to say Milinkovic-Savic is, but he's young, he's got time on his side, and he's got bags of potential. So, and I think he's someone that would fit maybe alongside Paul Pogba for him to, get forward a little bit. So yeah, it'd have to be Milinkovic-Savic for me as well. Wouldn't be cheap, but again, a good addition, I think, that would benefit the squad.
Absolutely.
Matthew McFerrian, this is an interesting one. After such a huge win, what are your best 3 moments post Fergie? He says, mine are Saturday's comeback, winning the Europa League, and seeing Rashford's debut at Old Trafford.
I think I would probably say winning the FA Cup. I know it was under Van Gaal, but I'm pretty sure that was our first piece of major silverware post Fergie.
I think it was, yeah.
So I remember that was a very good moment.
Yeah.
Then it has to be the Europa League.
Yeah.
Because the emotion involved in that and the situation around it, when you think that our league position was sacrificed to make sure that we got as far as possible in that tournament. Just seeing Jose's reaction as well to win it, that and how much that meant to him, and the passion that he's shown on that. I think everything together made that a very important moment post Fergie. And third, probably that derby win that we just had on the weekend. I mean, like I said to you earlier in the podcast, I've not been that nervous watching a football game for quite some time.
Yeah. Christ, you're a bore. No, I'd love to disagree with you. I'd love for something to go, no, do you know, but that would be my top 3, would be Europa League, number 1, piece of European silverware. As much as people knock it, it's still a major piece of European silverware.
It's just the occasion that surrounds it as well, and all the things that were going on around it at that time.
Yeah. I think the second has to be the FA Cup, and purely because that FA Cup win, I went mental at it, and I was so annoyed at Alan Pardew at the time, and to see his face afterwards. Plus the fact, directly following that game, it was when we announced that Louis van Gaal was leaving, and I hate advocating sacking managers, but he was one that needed to go. And straight after that win, we announced that he was leaving, and it was just a fantastic occasion. And then third, probably that derby win. There's a few other, bits and pieces. I know some people have mentioned the Martial's goal against Liverpool. Yeah, it was brilliant and all that. Rashford again coming through was decent. Yeah, but that City win at the weekend, just to do it in the manner that we did it, to stop them winning the title against us, especially after that 2-0 down at halftime, all the fans in party mode, and to see them all in bits crying afterwards was pretty special. So yeah, that would have to be number 3. 2 left then. Robin Kenston, he says, I don't know if it's really a discussion point, but I want to apologise to Jose and the players. At halftime, I completely written us off. Never be more happy to be proven wrong. What a comeback.
Well, I got a meeting with Jose tomorrow after work, so I'll tell him then for you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And if anyone listening has got any questions you want me to ask him, just send us a tweet.
He should be on next week, to be fair, so if you can wait. And then to finish off, David Makings, at Makings 101, another good one. Do you think Jose has seen the benefits of the attacking style of football after the Man City game, and have the players?
Well, do you want to go first on this one then, Ash, since it's the last one?
Yeah, I'm hoping so, and I don't think it'll be of any surprise to him. I just think that Jose is that type of manager where, Paul brought up a brilliant stat before, that we're the only team in the top 5 leagues not to concede more than 2 goals in a game across all competitions this season. And I think that's testament to Jose's tactics. As much as we say, we can be defensive at times and so on and so forth, that defense, as we've said on numerous occasions this season, goals win you games, but defense wins you titles. And Fergie said that as well. And I think that is a massive part of his ethos, is getting us solid at the back. I mean, you only have to look at the likes of, Liverpool and Spurs. They concede a lot of goals in different occasions, and that is ultimately the downfall of why they're not up there and they're not winning trophies on a year-by-year basis. And I think it is in him. Jose will attack if he feels the time is right, and I don't think he's a manager that advocates really defensive football and parking the bus. I think a lot of it has been the personnel that he's got at his disposal. I think the likes of Sanchez is someone that will run his heart out for the club. I think he'll bring in some players in the summer as well who will fit his system more. I mean, to call him defensive and attacking style of football, you only have to look back to his Real Madrid side. He had the players, he had the system he wanted, and he did fantastically well. So, in terms of the players, I think the players is more to concentrate on than the manager, because as much stick as Jose has got this season, I think a lot of it comes down to the players and their mentality. It was rumoured that I think Jose and Ashley Young were responsible for that halftime team talk against City. A lot of rumor, well, I don't want to say rumours, but a lot of what Ashley Young said at halftime is floating around social media. That he rallied the players. He gave a bit of a speech and said, they're singing Ole, do you want them to celebrate? And he sort of gave a bit of a rousing speech, which, spurred some of the players on. So got to be commended for that if it's true. So I think it's down to the players. I think they have to believe in themselves a lot more, because at times we've looked far too nervous. Players have looked far too cautious about making mistakes. And to play for Manchester United, you can't have that mentality. You have to have confidence, and you have to play, with every confidence and not afraid to make a mistake, because that's how goals are created. You only have to look at Alexis Sanchez. Makes how many mistakes per game? Absolute ton, but he keeps going and he keeps trying to create, and that's the sort of mentality we have to have. So I don't think he's seen the benefits. I think he knows pretty much exactly how he wants to play and what he wants to do. But in terms of the players, I hope they can have some more confidence in themselves after that win.
I think if you were to ask Jose if he'd seen the benefits of attacking football, I think he'd be offended.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
As a manager who's very experienced in the game, who's won a lot with various different clubs, he's won pretty much everything: European trophies, domestic trophies. He's won a lot. He's experienced and he's a great manager. We all know that. So I think if you were to ask him if he's seen the benefits of attacking style football, I think he'd give you a bit of a funny look.
Yeah.
He knows what the benefits are of attacking style of football, but he's also knows he's got to be cautious as well at the same time, especially if your attackers don't always perform, which some of ours don't always perform, which is why they're on the bench a lot recently. And so I think just to say, do you think he's seen the benefits? He knows the benefits. He knows the benefits. And it's like I said last week or the week before or both weeks, that I believe he's always wanted this from the team, and he's always tried to get it from the team. Yeah. And again, I repeat myself, you just got to watch him on the sidelines, how he's trying to urge the players forward, trying to get them to speed up and transition from defence to attack a lot quicker. And it was a few weeks ago after Brighton, that post-match interview, when he unleashed. It's just funny that since then we've put in some decent attacking performances. Yeah. And I said then as well, he's always wanted that, but he's never come out publicly and not like he did then, and really, really got into the team and said, look, I think it was rubbish. He was rubbish. He was rubbish. He's the only one that played with passion. The rest of them looked like they wanted to come off the pitch. Do you know, he really went hard on them. Yeah. And since then, look what's happened. I just think that he's always wanted that from the players, and he got fed up with the media and the rumours going around, and he just thought, right, I'm just going to let go, and hopefully I'll get a reaction from the players, and that's exactly what's happened. Yeah. That's just my thoughts on it. I could be completely wrong. Probably am. I'm not a pro.
We just waffle. We don't. Lovely stuff. That's it.
But listen, David, Robin, Matthew, Billy, Andrew, and Theon, thank you all for your tweets. Appreciate it a lot. Yep. Keep them coming every week. Ash, is there anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. No, it's just let's keep the momentum going. Yeah, and keep. Hopefully, I'm hoping that we get another win. Takes us one step closer to that second spot, which we all want. And then gear up for the semi-final. I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. Well, everyone listening, let us know what you think. again, about the Man City talk earlier in the podcast. Let us know who you would like to see start against West Brom. Would you keep the same 11, keep the momentum going? Would you bring anyone else in? Let us know. You can tweet me at Paul Gardner LP. You can tweet our podcast account at United Stand Pod. Ash, do you want to give out your details?
Yeah, Ash Boyo, ASHBOIO. Got to spell it as usual. So yeah, check me across some discussion points. Thank you as well to Gregory at ManRed. Usually after the podcast, I think he listens to the podcast. But usually after, he's always getting involved with some discussions, bringing up some good points. So yeah, keep them coming.
Excellent. And Jose Japan, he's another guy that's always talking to us. On the Twitter account. So thank you for your so yeah, everyone get involved. If you listen on YouTube, again, leave us some comments, let us know what you think, like the videos, subscribe to the channel. We do put every podcast goes on the YouTube channel as well every week, so you can catch us there as well. While you're on YouTube, also search VanCam, Kev Ashford of the United Stand, or previously of the United Stand. It's a bit of a comedy series, talking about Man United. He does a Fellaini watch segment, which is always hilarious. Wanker of the week, which is also hilarious, and also reads out your comments as well. It's definitely a good watch. So get over there and look up VanCam and subscribe to that as well. I think that's all from us then, Ash.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for listening. We will be back next week.